Got all that stuff running up in me, ready to just let it out. Let it out. First of all, I just want to give a shout out to Amber for hooking me up today. Amber Valenzuela, check her out, making me feel like a solid 7. I'm typically a 5, but my wife is nice. So I got to give myself 2 extra points because I got to be doing something right for her to be with me. So, but anyways, man, I hope everybody's killing it today. I hope everybody woke up in a great mood, motivated to do something new. So do y'all thing, guys. But all right, man, let's talk about what happened last night. Man, I'm still just, woo! What a call. What a call. The hardest job in the NBA, I would say, is being a referee. Tough as hell. Those last 2 calls in the Milwaukee Bucs Miami Heat game were I can't even put it into words, really. The first call, I will say, I did think it was a foul because if you look at the way Middleton went up to shoot, you got to be able to come down. And when you look at people like James Harden, who kind of when they jump forward to do their shot, I know people are going to have the argument saying Dragic had this, he established his ground, that was his spot. But if you really look at the replay, which they did, they looked at the replay, and you can see where he kind of leaned forward a little bit. You can see where he starts getting on his tiptoes and he kind of comes forward just a niche. But that's enough. I think that's enough. So I think that call was justified for. But the second call, that was ridiculous. And in my eyes, I thought it was a makeup call for the previous call. But you can't do that. You can't do makeup calls because makeup calls cost games. And that's exactly what happened last night. God damn, that shit is frustrating. And I get it. You have a tough job. But this is when the NBA has to step in. And we're going to see a rule change next year. I guarantee it. Guarantee it. You're going to see a rule change next year where the refs can go to go review these types of fouls or these types of crucial calls. That's insane that they couldn't even go and replay it to overturn it. The only thing that they were replaying was if there was time left or not. But they got to be able to overturn their own calls. And I'll tell you what, if I'm that ref and I go up there to review that call, I'm telling you right now that he was like, holy shit, I missed that call. And you can even hear it whenever he was explaining it to the announcer. He stuttered. He was nervous because that was a shitty call. But you got to live with it. You called it. There's nothing you can do. If you turn on it, then you just look like a jackass. But that's the problem. Nobody wants to take accountability for their actions. Nobody. It's insane. The NBA has to fix that. That cost Milwaukee Bucks that game. Given Milwaukee did have a shitty game, I think foul trouble on both sides. That's the one thing that I can say about that game is at least the refs were consistent. Miami couldn't play defense. It seemed like every time Milwaukee drove, there was a foul called. So Miami does have to clean that up in order for them to continue this run. But with that given said, I did see an adjustment from Milwaukee as far as aggression, which is what we're going to have to see going forward. If I'm a Milwaukee fan, I'm not nervous yet. I'm still not nervous. I know you're backtracking to last year, getting whooped by Toronto. No adjustments were ever made. I took out of this game, Giannis was incredibly aggressive, got to the foul line every which way possible. The only thing that I will criticize Giannis about is when he did take jumpers, everything was a fadeaway. There was never he could never catch rhythm, and that's the one thing that Giannis has to do. He's not a great shooter. He's not. But it's a lot harder to shoot when you're fading away than when you're set up. And Giannis has to do that. I don't know what to expect from Milwaukee in this next game. I'm going to assume they're going to stay aggressive. But I think what they need to do is obviously they got to start hitting shots from the 3. Right now they're shooting under 30%. That's not that's not good at all. And that team is built off of that. And the majority of these teams are built off of that. Shooters shoot, but you live and die by the shot. And Houston almost saw that yesterday. But Milwaukee's going to have to stay aggressive. Giannis is going to have to square up and shoot. These fadeaway shots, it can't happen. I know he had 30 points, but the majority of them were dunks. And if this continues to happen, Miami's going to sweep these guys. I don't see it happening. Milwaukee, I'm putting my money on Milwaukee this next game. The odds aren't there. I think that right now they're sitting at minus 230. It's not worth it, especially the way Miami's playing. And we all assumed that Jimmy Butler wasn't going to keep up that same 40-point type of game. I said that on the last show that I did. That's expected. But Miami is playing Golden State, Kevin Durant, Curry, Thompson basketball. It's so beautiful. The ball's moving. That team is just living off of Jimmy Butler's dog attitude, and it's so beautiful to watch. If you like basketball, that's the team you want to watch right now. They're hot. They're running, and you want to root for them. But if I'm putting my money, I'm still sitting on Milwaukee. Until this next game, I might change my mind. I mean, if they go down 3-0, I feel like everybody's going to change their mind. But I did see enough to say that Milwaukee's not in trouble yet. And, I mean, they were in foul trouble from the beginning. You had Giannis, 3 fouls right away. Middleton, 3 fouls right away, right when Middleton was starting to catch fire. So I'm not sweating it. Not sweating it at all. Before we move on to this next, to the Clippers Nuggets, I do want to talk about Game 7, the 2 Game 7s that recently just happened. Aaron says Bucs are overrated. I don't think so, my guy. I don't think so. They're just not hitting right now. That's the reason we think they're overrated, is because they're not hitting. It's just like every other team. If they're not hitting, we're all going to jump on them and say, oh, they're just not hitting. Wait till they caught rhythm. They caught a little bit of rhythm this last game. They got bailed out by a shitty call. It would have went into overtime. They would have won because Bayou got fouled out. I'm pretty sure they would have still won, or they would have won. So I'm going to give them that. But let's go to these Game 7s. So I don't want to criticize anybody on these Game 7s because, god damn, that Jazz game and Nuggets game, just everything that you could put into a Game 7, if you were making a movie, that's the kind of game you would have watched. Team being down by almost 20, coming back. I mean, you saw it in Donovan Mitchell's reactions. He wasn't giving up. It was all heart. It was beautiful. It was incredible. Watching that game. And what's cool is when they pump in the sound. So, like, when we're watching at home, it doesn't really – I mean, it feels like there's still fans there because the sound that they're pumping in, it's cool. It makes it cool. And, man, goddamn, that game was so beautiful. Donovan Mitchell, he's about to get paid. Shout out to him, man. Give him everything he needs because that's about as good as it gets up there in Utah. I don't see anybody else going out there. I will say Joe Ingles is ass, though. And he's probably the reason that – I mean, he's got to perform. He's the third best player. He's got to perform. That's one thing I will criticize about that. And then yesterday's Game 7 with Houston and the Clippers. Ooh, I was ready to jump on James Harden's ass. I sure was. But he did come in clutch with a solid defensive play. We always critique how bad of a defensive player he is. And he bailed himself out. So live to fight another day. Shout out to you, James Harden. And we don't expect him to have that many rough offensive games. Like he said, his offense was ass. But Kobe Bryant had a bad offensive game in the NBA Finals before, if I remember correctly. Same game against Boston, he got 20 rebounds. He was still effective in another way, which is similar to what James Harden was saying in his interview. You can't just be one-dimensional. You got to be effective another way whenever something's not going your way. The one thing that I didn't like was Russell Westbrook was also having a shitty offensive game, but yet he was giving it to him in the post. I mean, he missed 3 consecutive shots in the post, layups. To me, I was telling my buddy Malcolm, because we were watching it together. Shout out Malcolm at Richland. Check him out. How do you not, after 2, I feel like you got to be like, yo, bro, I'm not giving you the ball again. Get the hell out the paint. Let me take this. And then when James Harden finally did take it and drove it, he did the right thing. He dished it out to Tucker. Tucker pump fake, drive. You gotta put pressure on the defense. And that's what James Harden does great. So keep doing your goddamn thing, James Harden. Keep doing the damn thing, bro. Dang. All right, man. Clippers and Nuggets. That's gonna be fun. The Nuggets, I don't know if you guys saw, or I'm sure you guys saw Jamal Murray's interview. He wasn't aware that he was going to play 2 days later, which is incredible. Funniest shit I've seen. He didn't have an amazing offensive game either. But this matchup, I will say this: the Nuggets are going to miss Will Barton a lot. That was one of their guards, and he averaged 12 points a game for the Nuggets during the season. He's a long body. He stretches out the floor for him, so it gives Jamal Murray that opportunity to really go one-on-one. I mean, to me, if he would have been playing, that Utah game wouldn't have been at. I mean, I don't see a game 7. But with that being said, I think the Clippers still are gonna end up winning not only today but the series. But it's gonna be a tough one. But today is the day for the Nuggets to get a steal. You're running on that adrenaline from Game 7. Okay, Murray he didn't have a really great game. Murray's typically that player that bounces back really good. So what I'm going to say here, and I'm going to talk, we're going to go right into Bettors Bet. So let me hit y'all with this. Boop. Little segment of Bettors Bet, Shooter Shoot, presented by 79045 Clothing. Shout out Isaú Sanchez, baby, for making me this. Appreciate you, my guy. So for today's Bettors Bet, what I do have for you guys is we're going to go with the Nuggets. I did buy 1.5 because the spread is set at 9. I like 1.5, and the only difference is a couple cents. So I'm putting $10 on both the Celtics money line. I'll talk about that here in just a second. Denver Nuggets, I bought the 1.5 to put us at 10.5. The reason I put this bet is this is the Nuggets game to win. Or to steal, in my opinion. And the reason I say that is, one, Patrick Beverley's not playing, and he's probably, or as of right now, as of what I've read so far, is he's going to be out. That takes away one more person that's going to be switching on Jamal Murray, because I'm going to assume that it's going to switch off between Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, and they've been resting. They're the more rested team. And when I say that they're going to steal, that they have a chance to steal this, I mean they have a chance to win it, to make it a tight game. Jokic had an incredible game last game, and he's consistent. That's the one thing about the Joker. He's consistent. So I do see him having a great game today, especially because he's matched up with Zubac. I would take the Joker any day. So if you look at player props, they haven't came out yet, but if Jokic is, depending on what the point spread is for him, I would definitely go over, because I see a 25-plus game from him. But Patrick Beverley's not playing. He's going to put some pressure on Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard's been averaging 30 points this in the playoffs. So that's got to slow down. But that's where I'm saying that they're going to miss Will Barton. They just don't have that guy that can really put the pressure on Kawhi Leonard. Gary Harris is going to have a hell of a job, but he's a hell of a defensive player. So I do expect some good pressure from him. This is going to be a tight game, and that's why I like 10.5. So if you can get that bet in, get it in, baby, because I see a dub there. I see a dub. I'm not saying a dub from the Nuggets. I'm just saying a dub in the spread. All right, man. Next one that I had was the Celtics and Raptors. I've been saying this, man. Jason Tatum is that guy. He worked out with Kobe Bryant right before, rest in peace to my guy, before the Lord took him. Bless his family, man. Damn, that hurts every time. Jason Tatum. That's the upcoming Kobe Bryant. If I'm starting a team today, I'm starting with Jason Tatum. Yeah, I said it, you Luka lovers. Jason Tatum's the one. That's the guy. He's the guy. With that being said, I did say that the Celtics are probably going to lose at least one game. And that's probably why Vegas has Toronto being the favorites. Siakam hasn't showed up yet. We're still waiting. Got to go check the lost and found. Not sure where he's at just yet. But you got to make the assumption that he's going to show up. Today might be that day. The only thing is this scrappy Boston team is similar to the Miami Heat team. They are dogs. They are fighting. They're even flopping. Shout out Marcus Smart. But, I mean, Jason Tatum is taking over, son. That technical that was caught at the end of the game, let's start that back to the beginning of the podcast. These refs are so emotional. So emotional. You can't do, in the playoffs, you can't do that, guy. Come on. But Jason Tatum's taking over. Marcus Smart had a great game. He's finally catching some rhythm. Jaylen Brown's doing what he does, averaging his 20 points a game. Tice, he's up and down. Williams had a great game. They have the team. They have the team. This is the team. And I don't mind. I will risk that money on Boston today. It's only $10, so it's not a big deal. And yesterday, our bets went 1-1. We actually won 50 cents because I bet 10 and 10. And I hit the Eric Gordon one. So I got 50 cents. So we got $10.50 to blow today. Hey. But so we put 10 and 10. Live to bet another day. I think Celtics still pull this off. Today. Boston getting the dub. Ooh. Hold on, let me get a look. Steve Nash picked up by the Nets. Woo, what a great pickup. I liked it. I like this, but let's not forget, Mark Jackson is still available. I'm not sure if he's looking for a job, but because he's doing great on broadcasting. But let's not forget Mark Jackson was the creation of these Splash Bros. Let's not forget Mark Jackson developed that team, and Steve Kerr just happened to be put in a better position. So nothing against that. I'm just saying I think Mark Jackson should be a head coach. But will Steve Nash fit the system? I think so. Steve Nash is probably, first of all, one of the greatest point guards to ever play in the NBA. And secondly, he has worked with, he has been in the locker rooms working with a bunch of these teams. I know he's played with, I know he's been a shooting coach for the Lakers, been out there in Golden State working with Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. So with that being said, Kyrie Irving is set up to succeed yet again. I love Kyrie. He's from Duke. I root for Duke. Also why I love Jason Tatum. The only thing about Kyrie Irving is it's almost like he has this mindset where he thinks he is the baddest guy on the planet. And that's okay. You're supposed to have that attitude as a killer like him. But it seems to be like it's rubbing off the wrong way with a bunch of these players, which is why it didn't work in Cleveland. Well, granted, they won the NBA Finals, but that was 100% LeBron. Go to Boston. They make it to a Game 7 against LeBron without Kyrie. Kyrie comes, they suck. And then, I mean, look what they're doing now without Kyrie. So that just shows that Pandemic Pete's not the only problem. That also shows that Kyrie's a smidgel of a virus himself. So I think this is what I think. I think obviously Brooklyn's going to be really great regardless of who is coaching them because they got Kevin Durant, greatest player in basketball. Not right now, obviously, because he's hurt, but next year he's going to be the best player in basketball. But Kyrie does have the attitude to break up a locker room, in my opinion. So Steve Nash, as long as Steve Nash can keep this locker room together, I think they're going to be the favorites coming out of the East. That's what I think. And last but not least, man, the goddamn Bucs sign Leonard Fournette. How do I feel about this? This is some bullshit. They got Leonard Fournette for $3 million. $3 million. All the pressure is on Tom Brady at this point. If there was ever more pressure on anybody, it's on Tom Brady. They restructured that offensive line. They brought in some new pieces. You got two solid tight ends with Gronk and Howard, Mike Evans. I got a brain fart. Dude on the side. Y'all know his name. You know what I'm talking about. Goodwin. Or Godwin, one of them. And on top of it, that defense last year was top 15. I think top 10 if I'm right. And the only reason that they weren't in the top 5, in my opinion, is the fact that Jameis Winston was also Defensive Player of the Year. I'm like a defense can only be so good, but you can only be on the field for so long before teams start putting up points on you. And I thought a lot of the reason that the Buccaneers were getting scored on a lot was because, I mean, they just were on the field majority, like 75% of the time. Like, goddamn, how do you expect to play defense when you're on the field all the goddamn time? So this team is built to win the Super Bowl right now. All the pressure's on Tom Brady. And if Tom Brady does not perform, I think he's gone in a year if he doesn't perform. And it's time to start looking up the hill because Tom Brady is in a great position. He's in a beautiful position. I think they're the favorites now, and I think they're the favorites to win that division and to come out of the NFC. I might change my mind next week when we start talking football, but what else? They're going to bring in Earl Thomas for $1 million. Javion Clowney's going to take a goddamn discount and go to Tampa Bay for $1 million. That can't happen. I'm pissed. You guys have a great day. Speaking out loud, don't forget to share, baby. Appreciate y'all. Get y'all's coffee. Kill the day. Be